What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Tom Waits' catalog, all of it, everything released. Today, it's studio album number 2, The Heart of Saturday Night, his second, released in 1974. I'm going to talk about this one, review it, rank it, not play music from it, and then, next week, move on to number 3. So I posited in the first video that the narrative in early Tom Waits is the first album is the musical sort of portrait of a man who has a nightly gig at a jazz club or like some, south of LA down on like Melrose or down on Hollywood, but between like where the hot spots are, in some like long deserted suburban street, which there are a lot of in Southern California, and had like a nightly gig, but during the week. And Tom Waits did have a Monday night gig, I think at the Troubadour, if I'm not mistaken, in LA. And so it fits that. And that first album is that guy who was there, probably didn't have a very big crowd. Tom Waits probably eventually did, which is why he got signed. But you have an artist who has like something to say. He's got a viewpoint, but he's singing at like 12 to 1:32, a lot of low lives, a lot of drunks, a lot of people maybe escaping their real life and trying to lose themselves here. And I think the lyrics, the mood, the vibe of his first album reflected that. The second album is when that same artist all of a sudden starts to get popular. So they're like, hey man, we're going to give you a Friday night gig or a Saturday night gig, and you're going to be our regular on a Friday or Saturday night. We got little extra horn players for you. The musicians, we got a little more. We got a full band for you. Are you up for it? And that same guy who was hanging out with the drunks and the low lives and then leaving the bar at 2:30 and just wandering the streets for a while and telling stories, that same guy is this guy, only he's now on under brighter lights and he's getting more eyeballs on him. So there's got to smooth the edges just a little bit. Got to maybe put on a show a little bit. You got to lean into your classic crooners of your Sinatras, or maybe a little that kind of vibe. I don't know my classic crooners very well. Not quite Tony Bennett, not quite Sinatra, but there is a shift in character, I think, in what Tom Waits is here than he was on his first album. Yeah, it just works. It just works. A little bit of some of these songs have sort of a hipster vibe, there's one song in particular that ends in snapping, and I always think of that scene. I think it's in Mike Myers. And So I Married an Ex-Murderer. That beat poetry thing. There's a beat poet turned jazz musician vibe in here. In fact, I believe the title track of this, or if not the entire album, was dedicated to Jack Kerouac, and you can see that Kerouac influence in the lyrics. The lyrics are highly poetic, incredible lyricist. Waits is doing a good job of inhabiting these songs, inhabiting these lyrics, inhabiting the characters. But I do think this is he's no longer early in the week. He's got more eyes. So there's maybe his suit has been pressed and it's a little bit cleaner. Maybe he's got somebody else who plays the piano so he can step away and maybe woo the audience a little bit more. It's just a little bit smoother. Also, on this album, we got 2 more Zappa connections. Drums, Jim Gordon, and the art direction, Cal Schenkel. So there we go. In fact, the cover album, the cover right there, this to me is it's that same person that was on Closing Time. He's outside the club before his big show, and he's just like, yeah, I'm going to go do this thing, man. Let's do it. And he does it well. I'm not setting that up to say he wasn't ready for the big stage, but he was ready for the big stage. But he's both people at this point. He is that big showman, but he's also that guy who's really comfortable on a Monday night. I think the opening song, New Coat of Paint, might be the biggest song on here, which I think fits in with the narrative. I'm going to bring the big energy early because I know I got to put on a show. But then after that, we almost downshift into something that's more akin to Closing Time. And there is a song that's towards the end as we get deeper and deeper into the album. You're like, oh, this one would have fit perfectly on the previous album, where all the rest of them do feel a little more jazzed up, maybe. New Coat of Paint, awesome. And it opens with this little symbol, little thing at the very beginning, which almost to me feels like you've been seeing this guy, right, on Monday nights, and oh man, he's on Saturday night tonight. You get excited and you show up, and for the first time, there's like a curtain in front of the stage. You're like, what? It's usually not a curtain in front of the stage. And then the band comes out, everybody gets quiet waiting, and you just hear that cymbal thing, and then the curtains drop, and there's the band, maybe in matching suits, and Tom Waits is out front. But great. New Coat of Paint has a very I'm back vibe with Tom Waits. Lyrics are about maybe a relationship that maybe it's getting a little stale and we need to like step out on the town and give it a new coat of paint because that's our love needs to be infused with this kind of energy. Really good, strong opening. Great song. Second song, San Diego Serenade. It's a serenade. It's a really neat list of like, I never saw this until this happened. I never heard the melody until I needed the song. I think that's the actual last line. But it's about things that I never really maybe appreciated or knew about until something in my life happened. It starts off with sort of regret about maybe a relationship that didn't quite work. It seems like there's a lot of regret in this song. I think that's holding on to that Monday night Tom Waits. Semi-sweet next. The horns enter for the first time in a really dramatic way about a complicated relationship. We get some sort of love is complicated, sort of a woozy type vibe, nice jazz piano. Turns out at the end that the woman who's sort of frustrated in love or is like missing her man or is like kind of get through the complications is she's married to a truck driving man. A little truck driving man action. Shiver Me Timbers, straight up piano ballad vibe about a sailor leaving home. Could both be metaphorical and literal, but it's about being on the open. There's waves and open seas and leaving people behind. Little regret there also. Some regret on this album. Diamonds on My Windshield, just straight up walking bass line, maybe even running at times. This is by far your very jazz, nightclubby type thing with like, he's not really singing as much as he's talking his way through his lyrics. A very hip, cool cat type vibe. This is the one that literally ends with finger snapping. So we get that finger snapping that comes in here. This is all about cruising the freeways in LA and Southern California. If there is a subgenre of jazz called LA freeway jazz, this has to be on the greatest hits of that collection. The Diamonds on My Windshield are like raindrops. Pretty cool. Looking for the Heart of Saturday Night, the title track. This is just absolutely amazing. Super great sort of ballady vibe. Absolutely amazing. This is like a straightforward version of something on the debut album. This could have worked on there, but it's just maybe a little less drunk, a little less late night. There's also sort of a Springsteen vibe in this lyrically. That sort of young man hitting the town and like getting out there. This is like your classic. I think when people think of Tom Waits, I think the title track to this album is one of those. This is one of those songs that like, if ChatGPT were to spit out like 5 classic Tom Waits songs, I think this one would be up there. This one would possibly make that list, especially the early 70s period. Fumbling with the Blues. We got some bluesy, jazzy. He's kind of complaining in the opener. We get a little bit of griping, and then that drops into a slightly more swinging vibe. Pretty cool. It's the plea to the woman he wants. Please tell me I'm the one. We get some horn solos, a nice bigger sound. That band's really starting to warm it up by now on this stage. This whole thing very much has a show vibe. I mean, The Heart of Saturday Night, I think the title of the album alone lends it that. The opening track sounds bigger than the rest. The last track, which we'll get to in a couple, The Ghost of Saturday Night, After Hours at Napoleon's Pizza House, sounds like he played a show, was hungry, walked down the street to some pizza place, and wrote the lyrics based on these people who are hanging out in here trying to make life work for them at like 3 a.m. in the morning. This is it ends on a very quiet late night piano vibe that's just completely works for the overall vibe of this album. But after Fumbling with the Blues, we get Please Call Me Baby. This is more of a swooning ballad. Some string sounds come in here. I know we're fighting, but let's stick together. Please call me baby. Like, we're the thing that's going to get us through being apart. The alternative to us, like, yeah, we're fighting, but us breaking up and like being alone in this world, it's much worse than us fighting. So let's stick together. Depot, Nice swinging jazz. We got some wailing trumpet come on in here. That trumpet, which kind of made his presence a little more known on that first album, finally gets to like show up. It's probably the same trumpet player. And Waits is like, yeah, man, I'll get you in on a song. Let's go. We get Drunk on the Moon. Great piano ballad vibe. Great piano ballad vibe. Short little trumpet solo. Short sax solo. Nice horns. You can tell we're like, this sounds like we're reaching the end of the show. Like this guy who's maybe used to like having a slower pace and maybe doing some more talking between songs on a Monday night, kind of maybe not running out of energy, but he's ready to wrap things up in front of these bright lights. Just love it. The night is coming to an end. We get this nice little upbeat jazz pocket in the end. That's like, hey, I'm going to give you something to like satisfy you before we go home. But there is this weird resignation quality to this coming at the end of the album. It fits perfectly. Absolutely works amazing. Really good. But then we end with The Ghosts of Saturday Night. It's a great album. It's a great journey. It is Tom Waits in his early jazz kind of crooner type period. Opening song, I think, is one of the highlights. You have a couple really, really, really strong songs in the middle. You have a couple really, really strong songs at the end. I think we kind of peak. We kind of go into this like slower ballady thing. We peak more intensely in the middle, kind of slower ballady thing with a couple more jazzy moments. Then we kind of peak at the end. It's a good flow. The songs are strong. The energy is good. It is very much an overall step up from what Closing Time is. But for me, personally, it loses a little bit of that intimacy. It loses a little bit of the rawness. It loses a little bit of the I'm just out here trying to make it work vibe that I think Closing Time is. Plus Closing Time, we were really in those bars. Like you felt like you were in those bars with Tom Waits, both through the lyrics and the vibes. And this one, you're in that same bar, but it's a different night. It's a different vibe. A solid album. But if I were to rank them right now, I don't have a list. I didn't type it up. I forgot to type it up before I did this. But I'll throw it up there. I typed it up after I filmed the video. But yeah, I do think Closing Time is stronger, but this is in no way a bad album. This is a really good listen. I really enjoy it. It's fun. The lyrics are fantastic. If you are not good at picking out lyrics when you listen, I'm not. I usually have to find them and read them. Find them and read them, because I really do think Tom Waits is a great lyricist. And I think he adds a little bit of the necessary sort of like, I don't know if darkness is the right word, but that necessary sort of like, I'm struggling. Yeah, I'm here on this bigger night. Yeah, it's Saturday night, but still life ain't easy. Life ain't champagne and like, limos and, we're struggling out here, people. Our love is struggling. We need to stick together. We can do this. Let's go get some pizza afterwards. Really good album. And then we get bigger next time, because apparently our Saturday night stint worked. So we're going big time next time. But for now, that's all we got. Those are my thoughts on Tom Waits #2. Let me know your thoughts on this album, on things I might have messed up on, and things you know about that I don't know about. But yeah, Tom Waits, The Heart of Saturday Night. My second favorite out of the two. But so far, we're 2 for 2. We're doing great. All right, until next Friday, peace. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do those things so you know when the next video drops. And peace. Talk to you later.